how can we evaluate truth from opinions in different situations? That is what we're going to talk about in this video. So after watching this short video, you will be able to distinguish truth from opinions, realize that the methods of philosophizing lead to wisdom and truth, and of course, evaluate truth from opinions in different situations using the methods of philosophizing. It's me again, Teacher Jules, your wisdom amazing facilitator of learning. Please join me in my wisdom amazing journey. All right, so last time I have discussed about the basis of determining the truth. Okay? All right, now for today's video, I'll be discussing about the topic, the truth and opinion. Okay? All right, so but before we proceed to our new lesson, let's have a quick activity first. Okay? All right. Here we go. Okay, for the activity one, take a look at the statements and determine which one states fact or opinion. Okay? For the number one, it takes me 30 minutes to walk from my what? Home to school. Number two, living near the school is better because we do not have to spend much for transportation. Number three, my sister ate the last piece of pizza pie. Number four, my sister is a selfish person because she ate the last piece of pizza pie and did not share it with me. Number five, the policeman firmly pushed the suspect to his knees and placed him in handcuffs. And lastly, number six, the aggressive manner by which the policeman arrested the suspect is an example of brutality that characterizes our police force. Okay. Yan. Okay, now let's find out which one is factual statement and or opinion. Okay. Ayan. Of course, the statements number 1, 3, and 5 are more factual than statements number what? Number 2, 4, and 5. Okay. I'm sorry, 6. Okay. 2, 4, and 6. All right? So, using the philosophical tools we learned, they fit into the category of facts since they contain ideas or information that are easily verifiable. Okay. So while statements 2, 4, and 6 could be considered as opinions. Why? The question is why? Because these statements go beyond providing facts. It also provides conclusions or perspectives regarding certain situations. So opinions are also the basis for making arguments and convincing people that a certain claim is a fact. Okay? Now, what is the difference between fact and opinion? Right. So when we talk about fact, it is something concrete that can be proven. Take note of that. You can find facts in legal records, scientific findings, encyclopedias, atlases, etc. Right? So, in other words, guys, facts are the truth and are acceptable or accepted as such. Okay, so a fact is something that is true, real information. It can be proven. All right? While opinion is less concrete, it is a view formed in the mind of a person about a particular issue. Okay? So, in other words, it is what someone believes or thinks and is not necessarily the truth. Also, note in the examples below how facts are the same, okay? For what? For everybody, but opinion can differ quite widely. Okay, let me give you an example, guys. Maria can have the opinion that Italian food tastes best, while Joe has the opinion that French food is ideal. So this is an example of opinion. Another example. Let me give you another example. Penny can have the opinion that cold weather is better, while John can prefer hot weather. Okay? That is another example of opinion. Okay? So, just to have a quick recap, guys. Yan, nawawala. A fact is something you can prove to be either true or false. You cannot change a fact. Take note of that. Okay, no matter who you are, no matter how powerful you are, you cannot change a fact. Okay? Let me, okay, for example, okay, we all know that we have this what we call um, law of gravity, right? Okay, you cannot deny the fact that there is a law of gravity. Okay, so if you deny the fact, I would suggest that you climb a tree, then try if there is no gravity, right? Tingnan natin kung di ka mahulog. Okay. While an opinion is how a person or thing feels about something. That is our personal view, right? This is our view about something. Okay? And of course, we can change an opinion, unlike fact. Di ba? Okay. In order for an opinion to gain the status of truth, it must be able to pass the test of justification. So, what do we mean by justification? Okay, so when we say justification from the word itself, justify, right? Okay, justify, it should be verified, right? Okay, in other words, whoever makes the opinion must be able to argue for it in the most reasonable way. All right? Okay, so what do we mean by argument? Okay, so when we talk about argument, it is a series of statements typically used to persuade someone of something or to present reasons for accepting a conclusion. In other words, it is a statement or set of statements that you use in order to try to persuade people that your opinion about something is correct. Okay, so it is composed of a claim or what we call conclusion of argument and premises, the reason used to support the conclusion. Again, it is composed of a claim and premises. Okay. All right, so when we talk about conclusion, it is what? Our judgment based on certain facts. Okay, and when we talk about beliefs, these are statements that expresses convictions that are not easily and clearly explained by facts. All right. Okay, so if someone says there is no hope in the Philippines, okay, so this is not yet an argument. Why? It is just an expression of opinions, of opinion rather. Okay, so if the person wants to convince another person that his opinion is true, then he must provide reasons to support this claim. Okay, so an argument would look like this: there is no hope in the Philippines because many officials are corrupt and Filipino voters continue to elect them. That is already an argument. Why? It is already composed of claim and what? Conclusion. Okay? Take note of this. Not all arguments are good arguments. Okay? So, the branch of philosophy called logic studies and elaborates good argumentation. Okay, take note of that. Okay, so now the question is, how do I evaluate an argument? Now, how to critically examine arguments. Okay, now an argument is a conclusion based upon evidence. Arguments are commonly found in newspapers, editorials, and opinion columns, as well as magazine essays. To evaluate these arguments, you must judge whether it is good or bad. Good and bad are not, however, merely subjective opinions. An evaluation should be based upon rational criteria such as the criteria below. Okay, so what are those criteria? Okay. Now, here are the criteria in evaluating arguments. Of course, number one is fairness. Okay? So, is the argument fair and balanced, or does it contain bias? Bias can be detected by asking the following questions. Is the argument overly emotional and filled with loaded language? Is the argument one-sided? Are there alternative points of view not addressed? What are the implications of this narrowness? Okay, another criteria in evaluating arguments. We have evidence. Okay? So, are the given premises reliable and relevant? Are they thoroughly explained? Okay. If not, then you have to what? To verify. Okay? The given evidence. Okay, logic, of course. Does the author make concessions to alternative views without explaining why they are nevertheless subordinate to his or her main view? Okay? Do the premises themselves require further justification? Because if his or her argument is logical, it doesn't require any further justification. Okay? All right. So another question is the movement from the premise to conclusion logical? Does the argument contain gaps in reasoning or logical fallacies? Okay. Now, here are, of course, the tone. Okay. The last one is the tone. Is the attitude of writer appropriate for the content? Okay. For example, is it too serious? Is it too sarcastic or dismissive? Or is it overly dramatic? Tone can reinforce bias. Okay? So what do you mean by bias? Okay? Nauna lang yung bias. Bias is a disproportionate weight in favor of or against an idea or thing, usually in a way that is closed-minded, prejudicial, or unfair. Okay. Now, what are the examples of biases? Okay. We have what we call correspondence bias or attribution effect. Okay? So, so when we say correspondence bias or attribution effect, it is a tendency to judge a person's personality by his or her actions without regard for the external factors or influence. Okay? So that is what we call correspondence bias or attribution effect. Okay? From the word self, correspondence. Okay? We also have um, confirmation bias. It is the tendency to look for and readily readily accept information which fits one owns beliefs or views and to reject ideas or views that go against it. That is confirmation bias. Okay? Kung ano lang yung panipaniwalaan mo, kung nag-fit yung paniniwala sa'yo, excuse me. Alright, framing, focusing on certain aspect of a problem while ignoring other aspects. Okay? A good example of this is what? Being what? Partial thinker. Okay? You have no holistic perspective in life. Okay, hindsight. The tendency to see past events as predictable or to ascribe a pattern to historical events. Okay, pinapangunahan mo na, 'di ba? All right, conflict of interest. Okay, another one is conflict of interest. A person or group is connected to or has a vested interest in the issue being discussed. Okay, and the last one is the cultural bias. So, cultural bias is analyzing an event or issue based on one's cultural standards. Okay, kung di pasok sa standards, di ba? Okay, yun yung nagkakaroon na tayo ng bias. Alright. Okay, alright. So before we end this lesson, let's have a short activity first. Okay, this will be serve as your assignment. Okay, you can do this at your own pace. Okay, you can do this at home. All right. Okay. All right. So here is the instruction. Compare the statements written in the news section of the newspaper to the statements written in the editorial or opinion section of a newspaper to the statements written in the editorial or opinion section. Then answer the following questions. For the number one, what are some indicators in the statements of opinion writing that show that they are simply expressing their opinions? And number two, what are some indicators in the news item statements that clearly show that they are not simply stating opinions but facts? Okay. All right. So that will be your assignment. Okay, so that you can evaluate your progress. If you have learned something from this short video. Okay, so thank you so much for listening. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. By the way, my YouTube channel is Wiz the Amazing LPT Jules. Okay, and don't forget to ring the bell so that you will uh, be updated to my upcoming videos. All right, so thank you so much once again, and I hope you have a good day ahead. Bye.